What is going on, my YouTube family? Sergeant Graybeard at Graybeard Gaming Group, and in today's Division 2 video, we're just going to take some time and show you guys some of the best ways to farm for exotics. Over the last few weeks, we've gotten a lot of messages because there are a lot of new people playing the game, and they're wondering what's the best way to do it. Therefore, today we will be showing you some of the exotics that we have picked up during our gameplay. We will also show you, what we did to get them in regards to was it a mission or bounty, the difficulty, and how long it took. Now, if you happen to be new to our channel, first of all, welcome. Secondly, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We would love for you to be a part of our gaming family. And if you enjoyed this or found it helpful, take a quick second and hit that like button. It really does help the channel out. So as we begin today, my friends, a little disclaimer, this is really for people who are newer to the game. A lot of you have reached out saying you're just starting to play again. It's been a while, so we just wanted to give you an idea of some of your options when you are trying to get those exotic weapons or items. As you can see, we're at the summit in New York, and in theory, this would be the best way to farm for targeted loot in regards to exotics. The problem is right now, the summit loot hasn't been that great, especially for solo players. Now, I'll actually get back to that detail in a minute, but really quick, I want to show you why the summit can be so beneficial. You can see you can pick anything that you want to farm for in one place. So if you're looking for the exotic chest piece, or AR, or knee pads, or holster, SMG, LMG, it doesn't matter. You can pick whatever you want. Not only that, but the developers have said that now when you add directives, if that's possible for you, depending on, where you are in the game and if you're able to do that, regardless of your difficulty that you're playing at the time, that can also increase the chance of certain items dropping. And as we make our way to New York, that increase, or that percentage increase, also holds true for any directives you add on the map in New York. However, I think in all of the footage I'm about to show you, I don't have any directives active, so again, to get exotics, that is not required. Now, as we fire up the map, the first thing I want to do is show you under the Projects tab a few things you can do every week to get guaranteed exotics. The first of which is the weekly SHD requisition. Now, I have already done it for this week. However, all you do is donate a bunch of components and then you get the exotic cash. You can do that once a week. The next one is the summit. And what's great about this is when you complete the summit every week, you wind up getting exotic cash no matter the difficulty, no matter what. And the good part with that is that that does not mean you have to do all 100 floors. You could matchmake into a group, get to floor 70, 80, 90, whatever, and then at your pace, you could either, well, first of all, you could either finish with that group, or at your pace, you could finish those floors, and then you get the cash at the end. Finally, you can see on a weekly basis, you can also get an exotic cash from doing a weekly legendary challenge. Some people can, some people can't, but again, that gives you at least the ability to try to pick one up. So the next thing we want to go over are your other options for farming for exotics. So we've gone over the summit, and the other options you have are bounties, because you're always facing named enemies when you do that. You have control points, and then of course you have the main missions in the game itself, which you can replay at any time at any difficulty. Now, regardless of which one of those options you choose, the first thing you want to do is make sure you are farming in the area of the map that may have the exotic item or, weapon that you're looking for. So looking at today's map, if I was looking for, let's say, an SMG exotic, I would go to Manning National Zoo and farm there. If I needed knee pads, I would wind up going to the Grand Washington Hotel, or if I wanted an exotic AR, I would just farm control points in the Southwest because that's where the AR is the targeted loot. So having said all that, now we're just going to get into the drops themselves. Now, the thing is that, when it comes to the summit, it is by far the most efficient way to farm for exotics, or really anything you're looking for. The only problem right now is that the loot quality has not been that strong, especially for players who are on their own. However, being in a group, in my experience, has been the best way to get really good loot. I do random matchmaking, and you can see here in literally 2 floors, and again, this is kind of an anomaly, but I was able to get 2 exotics and wound up sharing them with, the other group members. Now, as we move on, there are people who do not enjoy playing the summit at all whatsoever. Therefore, we want to now show you a few other options you have to get these exotics. The first of which has to do with missions, and I want to show you one thing I do real quick that seems to really up my chances. So you can see here I finished the Wall Street mission on challenging difficulty. It took about 20 minutes. Now what I did immediately after this is I went back to solo play, I switched to normal difficulty and ran through the mission again. Now we all know it's incredibly frustrating if you're farming anywhere, whether it be a mission, especially a mission. You're doing the same mission over and over because the targeted loot is there and you're not getting the item. What I've found is that if you change difficulties in between attempts, it ups your chances for that item to drop. Now, let me be the first to say there is no science or math behind that. That is just something I've found that works for me. I've told other players about it. They've had some really good luck with that as well. But again, it's not a guarantee, but anything in this game that can up your chance that I find, I want to pass along to you. And the reason I bring this up is that there's this misconception where people think they have to be on heroic or legendary or these higher up, difficulties in order to get these exotics. That's not always the case. It is RNG, it can be luck, but you always want to stack the deck in your favor. You can see again here, this mission was on challenging difficulty. I think I ran it on hard or possibly heroic, the one before. It doesn't matter which one you choose, but for me, switching those up in between attempts does seem to help. The next thing we want to show you is farming for exotics from named bosses throughout the map in the open world. Now, the one thing you want to remember is this, is when you attempt to take out a named boss, if you beat them or if they beat you, either way, it resets that map for 1 hour. Now, I personally hope that is something that is going to change in the game because in the first division, you could go from named boss to named boss all over the map. But in this, in this game, you have to wait an hour between attempts. Another location I failed to mention actually was the Dark Zone. Now that is a place where people have had some decent luck finding exotics. Now the key is you got to be able to get out with that thing, but for me I typically stay out because it's such a hot mess. There's a lot of cheating, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, but again, you do have that as an option to try to find some items. Next, we're going to move on to control points, and in my opinion, this is my favorite way to farm in the game. What I suggest you do is find control points that you're really comfortable with, and on the days where they have that targeted loot you're looking for, that's when you want to hit them up. And if you can, I recommend doing the control points on heroic difficulty because it means you will face 2 named bosses before you complete the control point. Now, a few moments ago, I talked about the fact that this game is all RNG and it's a lot of luck and whatnot. And here in this clip, I'm actually headed to a location to find a named boss and a random heavy winds up dropping an exotic. Now, I think some random heavy dropping an exotic has happened to me twice in my entire time playing this game, but that was on challenging difficulty. This is challenging as well, and I was on my way to a bounty and wound up running into a named boss as well. And as we move on, the one thing I recommend is make sure you pick a world difficulty that you're comfortable running with on your own, because these things happen all the time. You could be just cruising around, run into a named boss. You want to make sure you're actually able to deal with it when it happens. And as we start to wrap this thing up, these next few clips are from bounties as well. I think it's been the best way I've been able to get exotics in a game. Again, the one thing I recommend is make sure that you are in a location where an exotic could be the targeted loot. You'll see here that the world was set to challenging. The bounty itself was normal. I was in an area where marksman rifles was the targeted loot, and I wound up picking up the nemesis. And as we go into our last few clips, the main reason I put this together was to show you can find these things on any difficulty in any different game mode. Yes, they can be a grind, but the point is you don't have to do everything on heroic with all directives active in order to get these things. The other reason why I recommend matchmaking or playing in your dedicated group or whatever it may be is that then you have the ability for other players to share these exotics with you. So there are lots of times where I'm playing, I have a lot of them so I can pass them on, and it's awesome to help someone out. And on that note, my friends, I think we're going to wrap up this video. Once again, thank you all for the continued support. You guys are awesome. You are sincerely appreciated. The channel is growing at a great rate. We have tons of games that we're going to be covering soon, and we can't wait to bring all this stuff to you. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. We would love for you to be a part of our gaming family. If you enjoyed this, take a second and hit that like button, but most importantly, take care, be kind, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.